Ladies and gentlemen, what if your pain is your teacher, not your enemy? What if the very thing you've been trying to escape is the very thing that's trying to awaken you? What if the tears, the heartbreak, the betrayal weren't punishments, but preparation? See, we grow up believing that pain is a curse, something to run from, something to numb, hide, bury, or silence. But the truth is this: pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest guide. It doesn't show up to break you, it shows up to build you. Think about it. When has comfort ever transformed you? When did ease ever teach you resilience, wisdom, or strength? It's in the fire of pain that diamonds are forged. It's in the storm that true leaders rise. It's in the silence of suffering that voices are born, the ones that go on to change lives. But here's the secret no one talks about: pain gives you two choices. You either use it or you waste it. You either turn it into fuel or you let it consume you. Some people spend their whole life stuck in why me. They repeat the story, they blame the world, they stay stuck in what hurt them. Others, the rare ones, ask a better question: what is this trying to teach me? Those people take their wounds and turn them into wisdom. They don't run from the darkness, they dig through it and come back carrying the light. They don't just survive, they transform. They build businesses from brokenness. They become mentors from mistakes. They rise, not in spite of pain, but because of it. And you have that choice too. That heartbreak that shattered you, that failure that embarrassed you, that trauma that made you question your worth. It can end you, or it can launch you. It can be the thing you hide, or the reason you shine. It can be the moment you give up, or the moment everything changes. Because your pain has a purpose. It wasn't random. It wasn't meaningless. It came to show you what you're made of, to awaken your greatness, to connect you to the reason you're still breathing. But the question is, will you use it, or will you waste it? This is your call to rise, not in spite of what broke you, but because of it. Let pain be your teacher, and it will take you places comfort never could. Pain is one of the most misunderstood forces in the human experience. We label it as an enemy. We resist it, numb it, run from it. We treat pain like a sentence, a punishment handed down by life to show us that we've failed, that we're not enough, that something has gone terribly wrong. But what if that's not what pain is at all? What if pain is not a life sentence, but a signal, a message, a wake-up call, a turning point? Think about how the human body works. When you touch something hot, you feel a sharp sting. That pain tells you to pull back before real damage is done. Pain, in that case, is a warning. It's not the enemy, it's the reason you survive. If the body didn't feel pain, you wouldn't know when you were bleeding, when you were burning, when something inside you was silently breaking down. You'd keep walking around unaware until one day everything collapsed. Now think of emotional pain the same way. When your heart aches, when your mind feels heavy, when you're carrying sadness or frustration or guilt, it's not to punish you. It's to bring your attention to something that needs healing, something that needs change, something that has been ignored for too long. Pain is your soul's alarm clock, and like any alarm, it keeps ringing until you finally wake up. But most people hit snooze. They bury the pain in distraction, in addiction, in work, relationships, substances, scrolling, entertainment, anything that helps them escape. But pain isn't interested in being silenced, it's interested in being heard. It will keep showing up in different forms, first as discomfort, then as sadness, then maybe anger, then anxiety, then illness, until eventually life will force you to stop and pay attention. Pain always escalates when it's ignored, but what happens when you actually listen? What happens when you stop running and sit with it, even if it's uncomfortable? You start to hear the truth underneath it. Maybe the pain is telling you that you've outgrown the life you're living, that you're not being honest about who you are, that you've been settling, shrinking, staying silent for too long, that you're surrounded by people who drain you, in habits that destroy you, chasing goals that aren't even yours. Maybe the pain isn't there to shame you. Maybe it's trying to save you. But no one ever teaches us this. We live in a world that glorifies ease and hides the hard. Social media shows the highlight reels. Motivational quotes tell you to stay positive. People around you might say just move on, or don't dwell on the past, or everything happens for a reason. But these aren't solutions, they're masks. And you can't heal by pretending you're not hurt. You heal when you stop fighting the pain and start asking what it's here for. Because pain doesn't lie, it doesn't sugarcoat, it doesn't flatter you. It brings you face to face with your deepest fears, your unresolved wounds, your unmet needs. But in that confrontation is the seed of transformation. The pain that humbles you is the same pain that frees you. It breaks your illusions. It burns away what's false. It forces you to get real. There's a reason why some of the strongest, wisest, and most compassionate people you'll ever meet have been through hell. They didn't become who they are in spite of their pain. They became that way because they listened to it. They didn't treat it like a sentence to suffer. They treated it like a signal to evolve. They learned from every betrayal, every loss, every failure. They let it refine them, not define them. And in doing so, they became people of depth, of purpose, of power. That power doesn't come from books or videos or surface level inspiration. It comes from the moments when life broke them open and they chose not to stay broken. It comes from nights where they sat in silence, not knowing how they'd make it, but choosing to face the storm anyway. Pain taught them patience, taught them empathy, taught them gratitude. It taught them how to hold space for others because they had to learn how to hold space for themselves. That's what pain is meant to do, not to stop you, not to destroy you, but to teach you, guide you, awaken you. And the sooner you see it not as your curse but your compass, the sooner you step into the version of yourself that you were always meant to be, because the pain you're feeling is never just about the past. It's a signal about your present and a doorway to your future. Ignore it, and you'll stay trapped in cycles. Listen to it, and you'll rise in ways you never imagined. We admire strength, we celebrate resilience, we look up to people who have endured the unthinkable and still found a way to rise. But what we often forget is that strength doesn't arrive gift wrapped, it isn't inherited, it's forged, slowly, painfully, in the fire of adversity. No one becomes strong without first being broken. We want the rewards of strength without paying its price. We want to be fearless, but we never want to feel fear. We want to be unshakable, but we pray not to be tested. We want to stand tall, but we don't want to be knocked down. Yet that's exactly how strength is built, not in the easy days, not in the wins, not when life is going according to plan. True strength is born in the storm, when your heart is bleeding, your mind is spinning, and everything inside you says give up, but something deeper says not yet. It's in those moments, the ones you think will break you, where your real character is revealed. When you've been betrayed by someone you trusted, when you've failed publicly and lost everything, when you feel invisible, like your life doesn't matter, when the world is moving on and you're stuck in your own pain, that's the forge, and it's brutal. No shortcuts, no comfort, just fire. But fire doesn't only burn, it purifies. It strips away the ego. It exposes the weakness. It crushes the illusion of control. And if you stay inside it long enough, not run, not numb, not deny, you come out changed, not bitter, not destroyed, transformed. Because pain has this way of revealing to you who you really are. It pushes you past your limits, beyond what you thought was possible. It forces you to reach for a strength you never knew existed inside you. It shows you the gap between who you've been and who you're capable of becoming. And this is what separates those who rise from those who stay broken. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's the decision to endure, not just the pain, but what the pain reveals. It's the choice to build through it. Some people turn pain into poison. They become angry, closed off, bitter at the world. They armor up, they stop trusting, they stay stuck in the story of what happened. That's how they cope, but it doesn't heal them. Others, the rare few, choose to turn pain into power. They don't pretend it didn't hurt. They don't sugarcoat their suffering, but they allow it to teach them. They use every scar as a reminder of what they survived, and more importantly, of what they gained through it. They gain patience, because they've had to wait through seasons of silence. They gain humility, because they've known the feeling of needing help. They gain empathy, because they understand what it feels like to be broken. They gain clarity, because pain strips away everything that doesn't matter, and through it all, they gain strength. A strength that can't be faked, a strength that doesn't shake when life does, a strength that doesn't scream for attention, it just stands, quietly, unapologetically, powerfully. That's the kind of strength the world needs, not fake confidence, not shallow positivity, real strength, the kind that's earned. And earning it means suffering. It means waking up with no answers and still showing up. It means facing days where your motivation is gone, but your discipline stays. It means carrying pain without letting it poison your purpose. It means standing alone, misunderstood, judged, and still moving forward. It means growing in the dark, when no one sees you. Hey. It means embracing the grind, the struggle, the discomfort, knowing this is where the gold is buried. Because no one becomes a diamond without pressure. No one becomes steel without fire. No one becomes unbreakable without first being broken. We don't get to choose what pain finds us, but we do get to choose what we build from it. And if you choose to build, day by day, breath by breath, you won't just survive what tried to break you. You'll become someone the pain never expected you to become. Pain always feels personal. It feels like an attack, a punishment, an unfair burden dropped on your shoulders. But what if pain isn't against you? What if it's guiding you? What if the deepest pain you've ever felt is actually the clearest clue to your purpose? Most people live their whole lives searching for meaning, reading books, chasing careers, jumping from one goal to the next, hoping something will click. But purpose isn't something you find in comfort. Purpose reveals itself in your wounds, in your experiences, in the very parts of your story you tried to hide. Think about it. The woman who was abused as a child becomes the one who speaks for the voiceless. The man who grew up poor becomes the one who built shelters for the homeless. The teen who lost a parent becomes the nurse who sits beside people on their last breath, bringing peace and dignity when it matters most. It's not random. The pain didn't just happen, it formed them, because pain doesn't just break things, it uncovers them. It shows you what matters. It shows you what hurts, and most of the time, your purpose is hiding behind what hurts the most. But here's the catch. Most people never go that deep. They avoid the pain. They distract themselves. They try to pretend the past didn't happen. They build a life designed to keep them numb. But numb people can't feel their purpose, and they can't live it either. The ones who live on fire, the ones whose lives shake the earth, they're not the ones with the easiest past. They're the ones who faced it. They're the ones who said, I don't want to waste this pain. If I had to go through it, I'll make sure someone else doesn't. Purpose often comes from the pain you never asked for, but can't ignore. That means if something keeps coming up in your mind, a memory, a wound, a struggle that never quite healed, maybe it's not a weakness. Maybe it's a whisper, a signal. Maybe your story was meant to be someone else's survival guide. And here's the beautiful part. Purpose doesn't erase pain. It recycles it. It takes the thing that once nearly ended you and uses it to empower someone else. It turns your sorrow into service. Your wounds into wisdom. Your suffering into something sacred. You don't need to be perfect to live with purpose. You need to be honest. You need to be willing to go back into your story and look for the moments that marked you, not with shame, but with curiosity. What were those moments trying to show you? What strengths were born from those seasons? What insight do you now have that others desperately need? This is why some people, even in the middle of hardship, seem so clear, so focused, so driven. They've stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And started asking, what am I supposed to do with it? And that shift changes everything. Because when pain meets purpose, your life gains direction. You're no longer just trying to get by. You're on a mission. You're no longer running from what happened. You're running toward who you're meant to become. Even your worst days start to make sense, not because they were good, but because they gave birth to something good, something deeper, something real. The truth is, your purpose isn't hiding in the parts of your life that were easy. It's not sitting in the highlight reels or the applause. It's buried in the ashes. It's written in the chapters you thought disqualified you. And the moment you stop seeing your pain as something that ruined you and start seeing it as something that revealed you, that's the moment your purpose is activated. It's not found. It's remembered, reclaimed, rebuilt from the ruins. Your pain was never random. It's not just part of your past. It's part of your calling. You didn't survive just to survive. You survived because someone somewhere needs your voice, your story, your fight, your life. Every painful moment you've been through has left you with two choices. Either use it to become more, or let it become a wall that blocks you from everything you could be. It's easy to think that once pain hits us, we're just supposed to move on, go back to normal. But pain doesn't leave you untouched. It changes you. The only question is, how will it change you? Some people get hurt, and they shut down. A betrayal makes them stop trusting. A failure makes them stop trying. A heartbreak makes them stop loving. Slowly, they stop showing up fully for their life. Not because they don't want more, but because the pain built walls around their heart, walls that were meant to protect them, but eventually become the very thing that traps them. They start living small, safe, controlled. Not because they're weak, but because pain made them scared to feel again, scared to lose again, scared to be vulnerable. to be exposed, to be seen. But what they don't realize is in trying to protect themselves from pain, they're also protecting themselves from life. On the other side, there are the ones who choose the harder path, the one that says, I'm going to use what hurt me. These people don't deny the pain, they don't minimize it, but they also don't let it define them. They take that pain and build something with it. Some turn it into art, some turn it into leadership, some turn it into service, some turn it into legacy. Because here's the truth, most people never realize your pain is your credibility. The same pain that tried to silence you is the exact reason someone will trust your voice. Your brokenness, your honesty, your scars, that's what makes you real. That's what makes your message hit different. That's what makes people lean in when you speak, because you've been there. You can read books about pain, you can study psychology, you can quote experts, but nothing carries more power than someone who has walked through fire and is now reaching back with open hands, saying, I made it, let me show you how. That's the difference between a person who suffered and a person who rose. One stayed stuck, the other built a bridge. One got lost in the story, the other rewrote it. And you have that same power. You can let the pain shrink you. You can build walls, numb out, give up. You can live your life behind a mask, hoping no one sees the cracks. You can go silent. You can let what happened to you become the reason you never become who you were meant to be. Or, you can choose to stand in the rubble of everything that hurt you and build. You can take every breakdown and turn it into a blueprint. You can take every night you cried alone and let it fuel your mission to make sure no one else feels alone again. You can take your rejection and create a platform. You can take your trauma and transform it into a tool, because pain, when it's processed, becomes purpose. Pain, when it's faced, becomes power. Pain, when it's transformed, becomes your legacy. The walls we build around ourselves may feel safe, but they keep us from impact. They keep us from connection. They keep us from our destiny. But when you take the bricks of that pain and build something outside of yourself, a business, a book, a message, a movement, you shift the story. You stop being the victim and become the visionary. You stop being the one who barely made it through and become the one others look to when they're trying to make it through. The world doesn't need more people who are perfect. It needs more people who are honest about their pain and bold enough to use it for something bigger. You weren't given that pain to bury it. You weren't meant to carry it your whole life like a weight chain to your soul. That pain came into your life to awaken something you would have never discovered in the safety of comfort. The truth is, life doesn't hand out strength for free. It doesn't build leaders in comfort zones. It doesn't birth warriors through ease. You had to go through what you went through. You had to be cracked open, because only then could the light inside you begin to shine. And now you have a choice. The pain is already part of your story, but what you do with it next, that's on you. You can sit in it, you can drown in it, you can let it become your identity, your excuse, your story that never changes. Or you can stand up, look it in the face, and say, I'm going to use this. I'm going to turn this into something no one saw coming. You can build a life that screams, the pain didn't break me, it built me. You can become proof that pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of your power, the beginning of your impact, the beginning of your legacy. So don't waste what hurt you, don't silence the story, don't close the book on the very chapter that could change someone else's life. Your pain has a purpose. Not everyone will understand it, not everyone will see it, but you don't need them to. You just need to believe in what it made you and become the person it was always shaping you to be. Use it or waste it. The